Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you all got your notifications. Uh, and if you're new to the channel and you want to know when to go live, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know where you can join the chats. And says no gold trim on flags tonight. Well, we can talk about that. Hi, Doc. How you doing? Ann's here and Linda. So everybody's rolling in. And it looks like my stream's doing better than it was last night. If some of you were over on Nikki's channel, you probably know that there was a little bit of stuff going on with the chats and the number of people and notifications and stuff like that. So maybe it's just a bump in the road. We'll see. No tie. That's what they tell you. Never wear a tie if you're going to get into a fist fight or any kind of a fight. I had a friend of mine one time. He said, I'll show you what I can do, what I'm going to do. This guy's giving me a hard time. I'm going to go over here and do this and do that. I said, I can tell you've never been in a fight. He said, why? I said, you're going to go over there with your tie on. He's going to grab your tie and sling you around like a rag doll, you dope. So I said, sit down and behave yourself. So anyway, yeah, you never show up to a rumble with a tie. So anyway, in my mind, there's a lot of things that there's no doubt about anymore. And I'm not going to say that there's no doubt as to 2024. I'm still saying something can happen before 2024. But 2024 will happen. We're going to follow the Constitution. And we were told that he needs us and he's ready to fight with us. And he said a landslide victory. No, that's what it means, Doc. No tie business is done, question mark. No, it means you're getting ready to rumble. Okay, it could mean business is done, but no, if you're getting ready to go, you take that tie up. Now, next time he shows up, he got his sleeves rolled up. You really know what he's talking about, like Jim Jordan when his sleeves rolled up. How you doing, Lone Wolf? Hey, yeah, Simpson, how are you? Kicking Bird. Michelle, how you? Sharon, TJ Cats. And B-Dog, you put the link in for me. Thank you. And Nikki does that for me, too. I appreciate it. I'm looking for her. Hi, Kim. Hi, Damon. How you doing? And now, if I forget anybody, hi, Sandy. How you doing? Thank you so much for your help with the Buy Me a Coffee the other day. I'm gonna put out some special thanks. I got a very nice group of people helping, and I don't even know what to say. So happy days is here. And if I forget anybody, please forgive me. Tennessee, how you doing? And you're one of the ones I want to thank. and Jamie's in here. Melinda, honey, hello from UK, honey. Bubba, how you doing? Diane, how are you? And Lucy, how are you doing? Joan, now, I try to respond to everybody's comments in the after broadcast. People leave comments. And remember, if you're watching this after the broadcast is over, you can still follow along with the live chats in case I'm addressing a question from the audience. And I guess Nikki is probably going over some stuff. Hi, Ronald. Hello, Kathy. Hi, Donna. How are you? Greg Kibler, how are you doing? Jax, how are you? And Twinkle Eye 62. How you doing? Twinkle Eye 62. Wanda, and help me with that name. I can try it, but if I mess it up, you're from the East Coast. Or Aracelis Alonso, how are you? I hope I said that right. If I didn't, forgive me. But yeah, capitals are okay for a little bit. But remember, they view that as shouting. So don't use them too much. Capitals here and there. And I got in my description about the chat rules. So I appreciate everybody that's coming. Gary Steiner, I want to put out special thanks to you, Gary. With the Buy Me a Coffee, a very special thanks. I thank you so much. I'm working on a laptop and a little bit better service for our streaming, and we'll see how that goes. Please let me know if there's any problems in the stream. Everybody. So ourselves, if you, oh, thank you. I got it right. Ourselves, if you could kind of cool it with the caps a little bit, I would really appreciate it. Ourselves. And yeah, wow. You know how you spell wow backwards, don't you? Wow, upside down. It's mom. So, but I did get it right, didn't I? Miss Mendersue, and we got two Donnas in there. Hi, nice to see you, Donna R. Robert. Thank you, ourselves. So anyway, folks, I tell you, I was fired up before this rally. I was waiting for it, and so many things that could be happening that I know that if I'm on pins and needles, that people who are in a position to be in trouble. I mean, like big trouble. If Mr. Trump comes back, if I'm on pins and needles, you all are on needles. Robert said, no notification. Debbie Webby, how you doing? If you're somebody that's got something to lose and you could be in some trouble, if Mr. T comes back, you can imagine what they feel like. And, they're probably much laying on a bed of nails. If I'm on pins and needles, they're on a bed of nails. So there's a lot of that going on, and he is not showing any. He's the old saying, never let him see you sweat. He's not letting him see him sweat. He is coming out more forcefully, more unequivocal with his what he's going to do to cure the problems that we're having in this country. And also to define a little bit better what is definitely coming, which is retribution. Okay. And it's not, as he said, not in a hostile way, but there has to be retribution when people do things wrong. Just ask Alec Murdaugh or any number of people. Like they say, oh, you separate parents from their children. One police officer said, yeah, we do it every day. We catch somebody drunk driving. We separate parents from their children. We don't let them go home. So, oh, you got kids. You get to go home and sit down, have another beer. So anyway, there's got to be a price to pay. So that's coming. That's coming. Now, the thing, as somebody said in the chats last night, a number of people did. So much is going on that's making my head spin. Is Nikki? Where's Nikki? I think she said that. I hope she can get in. I hope I signed out right from her broadcast. Maybe I did something wrong. I hope not. Yeah, Honey says this is UK. Our clocks have just gone forward now, 2 a.m. in the UK, just like that miniature 1 a.m. now 2 a.m. Oh, okay. Well, hope you can sleep in tomorrow, honey. So anyway, we'll cogitate on the rally here. If you guys got anything you want to put in the comments, I'll try to read them as I talk. But I do want to keep my train of thought. I put something in the end of the thumbnail, and Donna says it looked like I'm not there. What is that? It's saying that I'm not broadcasting. Probably that's what happened with Nikki. So anyway, but hey, we got a lot of people in. Hopefully we'll get more. Thank you, Sandy said, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Hey, and give me a thumbs up too. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Oh, there's Nikki. I was worried about you, Nikki. I thought they were playing shenanigans, or I didn't log off right or something. I had your channel all tangled up with some old mountain man picture on there. Conservative Cowboy says he's giving us some news updates. Commander of the 89th Military Police Brigade was relieved due to loss of confidence in her judgment. Lieutenant Colonel Tanya Donovan, 3rd Army Corps spokesman. Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of them getting relieved because we're not confident in their judgment. And like I say, just because somebody's wearing the uniform, a military uniform or a civilian uniform, or a member of a certain group does not give them automatic honor and respect. Okay? Because we've got a certain percentage of every group that needs, you're going to have problems with. You're going to have problems. And I'll get to that right down to the numbers in Nuremberg. There were more than just NAZIs getting the rope in Nuremberg. There were U.S. servicemen, and there were trials not only in Nuremberg, they were all over in the South Pacific, all over Europe. There were tribunals or commission trials and many different things. And some of it were our service people from our country. So, you can't give them a blanket pass because they got a flag on the shoulder. Sometimes people are not, they don't have your good in mind, as Mr. T says. But back to what I was saying in my title, I put the thing at the end there, and I know some people caught it early in the chats before the show had started. Mr. Trump can't spell, ? What did I mean by that? There's a famous situation there. Brian Stelter did a thing where Trump has done so many misspellings, so many, and he even went through all trouble to do a story and put up the tweets with all where he said he misspelled, but something is happening that has to do with one of his misspellings, and it's hard for a lot of people to remember, but I remember. Let's see if anybody remembers in the chats what am I talking about, right? Roberts misspells sometimes on purpose, but this time he did not misspell. How was that for a hint that's like, what are you talking about? A misspelling? He didn't misspell? That's right. Gary said clues. He said it a long time ago. And what's happening right now is bringing that misspelling, quote, misspelling back into my mind. Donna Neff. They said, you got it, Donna, something. They said he couldn't spell coffee, right? And yes, Miss Sue, he sent us a comment a long time ago. And I will tell y'all, Mr. T, when he went, as we discussed in other broadcasts, everywhere he went, he got a royal welcome. He got a statesman's welcome every country he went to. Record-breaking public crowds in India, in the Forbidden City. For the first time, a Western leader was ever taken to Forbidden City in China. Buckingham Palace with the Queen, where he stepped in front of her, in front of the world, twice to review her troops. Okay? Everywhere he went. Saudi Arabia. What did they do for Trump in Saudi Arabia that they have not done for any leader? They gave him a sword dance. And I played a video clip of them giving that sword dance. And I might play it again in the future. So while the mainstream was busy ignoring Digital Hawk, Digital Hawk, Ko-Fei is the way Digital Hawk spelled it, with a space in between. That's good because, oh, no, that's close, Miss Menderson. Please don't get it exactly right, because you know why? I'll tell you why. While the media was busy ignoring Mr. T's stunning welcomes that he got all around the world. Honey Bunny, you're right. He spelled stolen, and we talked about that. It's a German bread. And Gary mentions the sword dance. Nobody did anything, but they did put out a picture where these sheiks and Trump had their hands on a glowing orb, and they were trying to briefly put it up to like give some kind of creepy meaning psychologically to the people rather than show the riot of colors in India, the pomp and circumstance ceremony in Buckingham Palace. All that stuff they ignored, but they put up this glowing orb with the sheiks around it. It was part of the sword dance. And when it was all over with, Trump sent out a tweet. He said, as for me, Kofefe. Okay. Now, I don't know if they still have it. That's why I say don't spell it correctly on purpose, because I remember that very clearly. It was met with derision immediately. There were memes made about it that Trump couldn't spell coffee, all this kind of stuff. They were making fun of him. The news anchors were making fun of him. But the night that came up, Googled that word. And it's an Arabic term. I will stand. I will stand. There's little derivations of it, but the meaning is I'm not breaking. I'm not giving in is what it means. And it's an Arabic term. And don't you know, within 24 hours, that was scrubbed. And I see what you're saying, Jason, but he did not misspell that word. He didn't, kafefe. And they all made fun of him. I know it's difficult to misminster, but you can find it on the 17th letter site. It will show you the right spelling. But anyway, they scrubbed it. Google scrubbed it. Within 24 hours, you couldn't find that word anywhere. And so on and on it went with the mocking, the memes, and all this stuff. But do you know what that sword dance symbolized? It's an Arabic sword dance. It's a battle, symbolic of battles. He was their leader, and not just for Saudi Arabia. And what's going on now? Well, yes, the broadcast before the airstrikes, I was broadcasting, and after I got off the air, the news of the airstrikes came out at 11 o'clock night before last. I got off the air about 30. That same broadcast earlier, I mentioned that it was a historical meeting between Iran and Saudi Arabia, okay, where they reached some agreements on issues that have been a very big problem since the end of World War II. And they hadn't spoken for 12 years. Not any official communications. And then we had the airstrikes on the American bases in Syria, which Donald Trump made a very big point of saying, I ordered everybody out of there. They wanted to leave. I'll come back to that in a little bit. Let me write that down so I don't forget. But I'm going to get to my point about the coffee. Okay, I got to make a cup here. Anyway, but you have Iran attacking the U.S. bases. Of course, we're not going to get the straight story on who attacked who or who shot who or what happened where. We're not going to get the straight story. But we know that missiles are flying. And we know we've been warned about the brink of World War Three. So you have Saudi Arabia and Iran now have an agreement where they're working together. And immediately after that, within a day or two, you have this offensive strike by Iran. And Iran has been supplying Russia with kamikaze drones, which the U.S. government's got a big problem with. So you couple that with Donald Trump saying that he had peace for longer than anybody, and the Abraham Accords, the historic Abraham Accords with Arabic nations. And now you see this alignment of Iran and Saudi Arabia, Turkey, okay, all these nations that are part of what we know Trump has either had a very good relationship or a very good understanding. By that I mean where he told Abdul, oh, but why, Your Excellency, do you send me a picture of my house? They got a good understanding. When he said, ask your wives, okay? And when Erdogan from Turkey was pushing the Kurds a little bit too hard, and Trump said, I destroyed your economy once, I'll do it again. Keep it up. And then he backed off. That's a good understanding. May not be a good, warm and fuzzy relationship, but it's a good understanding. Like Bismarck said, how do you get along as a leader in Europe? He said the first thing you do is have a good treaty with Russia. He said it over 100 years ago. And so he understood you have good understandings. So you don't need everybody to be your friend, but they need to understand. And like Trump said, they're making fun of us now, and they didn't make fun of me, and they didn't make fun of us when I was president. So anyway, you see this action being taken, and I want to remind people, anybody that's listening to this broadcast, that's not down with the program, a lot of you are, but we're getting more and more people every day. And we're getting more and more subscribers. Some people walk in and they really don't, I could say certain sentences and you guys know exactly what I mean without expounding on it. But Trump, when he was in office, he said he ordered all troops out of Syria. This is a statement that is historical because it affects multiple areas of our culture and our government. One, the news organizations, which you know what Trump called them again today, the enemy of the people. I believe it was ABC. It could have been someone else, but someone of that status had put out a video of nighttime explosions and a reporter claiming that Turkey was bombing the Kurds because Trump would not send U.S. troops to intervene in a peace deal he had worked out between Turkey, Russia, Syria, okay, and for us to get our troops out. And it turned out that that footage was false. And it actually was footage a lot of you know, some of you will not know. They actually got out footage that was probably almost a decade old of a nighttime training center at a U.S. base in Kentucky. Artillery training at a U.S. base in Kentucky, at a boot camp, you might as well say. And they took that footage, they played it 7, 8, 10 years later, however long, they played it that night and was claiming that thousands of Kurds were being wiped out because of Turkey, and putting these talking heads and TV generals up to say that U.S. intervention was necessary. And Trump said, Later, he told the news representatives, I'll never forgive you for what you did that night. I'll never forgive that. And so that means he ain't forgot it. And I never forgot it either. It reminded me of when he told indirectly Barack. I just, we say we can't say his name, so we call him McStain, right? I'm not going to say his name anymore either, except to say Hussein. There's McStain and Hussein, okay? And if I'll say it this one time, or maybe I'll sprinkle it out a few times for new viewers, but Hussein is Barry Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, okay? Hussein and McStain. So he said during one of his comments, televised, it was either a debate or news press conference, he said, I'll never forgive you what you did to our armed services. And one of the things he was talking about was how the armed services were allowed to be so decrepit with their equipment, okay, and their pay and their rules of engagement in Afghanistan, a lot of things. But I think what he was talking about, and I believe this, I believe it was a direct message to them, and they know exactly what he was talking about. A very specific instance on top of everything I've already mentioned. And let's see if anybody gets it. I won't hold the chats up long. Does anybody, where he said, I'll never forget and never forgive you. He said that to Hussein and Mike Shell. I'll never forgive you what you did to our armed forces. And it is yes, Bathhouse Barry. A specific instance that I think he sent them a signal that they're going to get in big trouble for. One of the many things. But anyway, while you're cogitating on that, and I'll see if anybody takes a stab at it, I'm going to say that Trump, if he had to put a title on his speech tonight, it would have been, I will stand, or I am standing, or I won't back down. Those are the different choices that you had prior to Covfefe being taken off the internet, just like they wanted to wipe out the picture of Tank Man. Tank Man. I had a video on that where they tried to take Tank Man down. And if young people may not know who this is, we can talk about another broadcast. Let's see. But that's what tonight's speech reminded me of. If he could have put a title on tonight's speech, it would have been Covfefe. That's to all them in New York, okay? All that trash in D.C., Magic Kingdom, trash, all that stuff. Anywhere, wherever they're investigating, Georgia, Florida, California, wherever they're doing it, they got the big Covfefe, okay, tonight. So, yeah, Obama emptied out the military supplies. Yes, he did. But that, I think, is where when he specifically named them and he said, I'll never forgive you for what you did to the military. And a lot of administrators, presidents have neglected the military. Clinton stripped them down to nothing. Okay, Carter didn't stand up for them. Other than Reagan, just about all of them let money get ripped off and everything else. So I'll tell you what I think he was referring to and giving them a message. And it wasn't coded. He didn't code it. He just said enough to where they got the message. Okay? It's got the number 6 in it, right? And the first part of it is SEAL team. Okay? And I believe that in my heart. That's the specific thing that they're not going to get forgiveness on. And don't put it in chats, because that is another thing that zeroes in, but it's the sixth one out of all the SEAL teams. It's that number. So, and of course we know about Benghazi, which is what led up to that event. So I was saying last year we had a long road, and that we were going to have to go through the midterms. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, I can't go through the mid. This country can't make it." And I was like, "Oh God, it's gonna be terrible, but we got to do it. We got to get through the midterms." And I've been saying for the past couple of months, be ready for 2024. And everybody was like, "Well, we want these things to happen now." Well, we're dismantling something where we're not, taking parts and pieces off and throwing them in the bushes and forgetting about them, trying to put some. No, we're going to keep it all. Like Trump said tonight. He said, "I know who's good and I know who's bad. I know who's weak and I know who's strong." He went down the list. He was telling them, when I came here, I didn't know anybody. Now I know. And he knows who loves this country. He left that at the very end. And what does that mean? That means he knows who doesn't love this country. And they're making a list. And they're going to get evidence. And they're going to get retribution. People are going to pay for anything from is subversion or negligence, right up to the ultimate. Conservative cowboy, I went over that about the no tie. He's just walking into a fight, man. You don't wear a tie in a fight. First thing, somebody comes up to me wanting to fight wearing a tie, I say, "Okay, run, snatch that tie up and sling them left, right, up, down," and they trying to suck air is what they'd be trying to do more than doing anything. And while I'm doing that, I'm kicking them in the ankles and laughing. You never wear a tie to a fight. The job's not done yet. So they're getting ready. How many of you saw that picture I put up in my community post? A lot of you have the feature in your phone where you can hit that bottom right button and drop stay hear the broadcast and do all that and still search YouTube. So you can go look at it. It's Trump in a prison yard. And Nikki gave me the idea for this title. It said, come out and play. Where Trump's like, "Come on out so I can lump you up." And he says, "Come out and play." Red said he beat up somebody with a tie. He was purple when the cops came. That's right. It don't take long. Same thing with a ponytail. Anybody gives you a hard time, you could grab that ponytail and just take off running. So anyway, the Trump he threw down the gauntlet tonight because he didn't say things kindly, except he took the rough edges off of what the word retribution means. And like I said, when I first heard it, 2 weeks ago, it's in the title of one of my videos, retribution. That's the first time he said it. And I said, it's not the same as vengeance. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. We all know that. So tonight he took and and polish that word up a little bit for what exactly means. It is a form of punishment. Have no doubt. Have no doubt. We have the right to punish on this earth, but vengeance is God's. Ha ha ha! See, yeah. Let's see. Communists come out and play. B Dog said, "Come out today." And you all know which one. Nikki showed me that clip from a movie. What was it? What was it, Nikki? It was Warriors come out and play. You're not blind, Donna. He came out without tie. He's ready to throw down. And Andrew's right. Biden, he put out a statement. I'm going to put Andrew's statement of what Biden said. And so we're recorded for history. That's Biden's official statement. Ha ha, Warriors, come out and play. Let's see. So I saw somebody in the chats I haven't seen before. Victor. Yeah, mountain man. Really? That's right. I'm a mountain man, buddy. You see me come out of the woods, I got a shooting iron in one hand and I got a bunch of squirrels hanging off my belt. Oh, you can't see community tabs, Lori? I read, watch that movie about 2,000 times. That's right, Gary. It's in the Bible. Oh my goodness, Andrew. You better put quote marks on that for Joe Biden so nobody thinks you're saying that. Prototype 1985. How are you? Wondering if that's the last rally? No, Jamie. No. Now, I tell you, we're going to have a 2024. Of course we are. But he said, I'll promise you this right now, that I'm the only candidate that can say this. I will prevent WW3, right? Well, look at everything that's boiling up with Iran doing the strike on U.S. bases. That is unimaginable. When have you ever heard that they would ever attempt something like that? So they're very bold. And my point earlier, where how I said this affects multiple parts of our country. I mentioned the media, how they put up the film that was total propaganda meant to incite the American people. But I also want to point out what Trump let everybody know. Some of them weren't listening, the American people, but the people that need to hear it heard it. That he put out an order as commander in chief to take everybody out of Syria. After he left office, the joke was about a month after he left, they were joking that they did not remove everybody from those bases in Syria. There was a couple of thousand people, and Trump said, I don't want them there. So somebody or a group of somebodies consciously defied orders of the commander-in-chief. And way prior to that, multiple times prior to that, he said we were a country at WAR, and he was a WAR time president. So if you disobey the commander-in-chief during armed conflict or a kinetic war, any kind of war, hey, you're in trouble. So they thought he's gone. They're going to get him somewhere down the road for something else, spitting on the sidewalk or not getting a permit to put his flagpole up at Mar-a-Lago or something. And they thought they'd never have to worry about him again. So ha ha ha, we didn't take all the soldiers out like we were ordered to. And so you take that message that Barry or Hussein and Mick Shell got about SEAL Team, you know what, and this the other part is 6, and everything else they did to the military, and Trump saying, "I ordered everybody out of there," and the people who defied him know who they are, and they damn well better know that we know who they are too. By we, not I don't mean us in the chats. I mean our military, Space Force, combat operations commanders know who behaved in a subversive way. Okay. So there's going to be at the very least jail time out of this. So what happens when people get in that situation? They get desperate, right? Holy cow, I got a notice. Let me see here. Oh boy. I want to thank you, Debbie Webby. Debbie sent me some coffees. My goodness, Debbie. Don't break the bank, honey. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. I've got links in the description for channel support, and I want to give a special thank you. I've got to update my banner. Gary, I want to thank Gary Steiner and Debbie Webby for helping me out. Debbie just helped me out tonight, and Gary helped me out. Gary helped me out last night, and I do appreciate it. Here we go. I put my ticker up. I've got a link in the description, and this is everybody I want to thank. I got to put Gary's name on there and Debbie Webby's name on there, and everybody else you see. I got Gary and Debbie Webby, and on top of that, you got Aaron, Robin, Kirsten, Wanda, Tennessee, Sandy, Norman, Dory, Pamela, Nikki B, Diamond Lil, Camper Man, Simpson, Mary, Lone Wolf, Mac, KNS, Cleaning, Killer Fuzz, somebody one, somebody two. That's the entire year. Everybody's helped me. This is my year anniversary, I think, sometime this week will be the anniversary. And I lose about 20 people off the chats when I talk about buy me a coffee link. But thank you, Debbie Webby, and thank you, Gary, and thank you, everybody else. I appreciate it. Hi, Sherry. How you doing? Let's see. Raymond Butters. That's right. Court martial removed, rank, and discharge, or prison, or both. Our recompense, Wendy says, is coming soon. God watches over his word to perform it. That is exactly right. Oh, Andrew says he's got some characters in where'd it go? Sometimes I get knocked out of the chats and I have to kind of poke around and get it back. Got some people in Springfield, Illinois, 2 local radio hosts pumping relentless anti-Trump propaganda. Well, let me tell you, I was talking with a friend, and it is laid out as plump, as my father used to say, as plump and plain as you can lay it out, okay? You're either for Trump or you're for what they're doing to kids, okay? That's just one thing. You're either for Trump or you're for what they did to our troops in Afghanistan. You're either, there's so many examples that you can give. It is stark differences. It's bright pastels, as Ronald Reagan used to say. The differences are bright pastels versus their drab nonsense. And in order to grasp it all, this business of him going to Waco, I mentioned that in the thumbnail for a reason. Some of you younger people may not remember Waco very much. I've got people in these chats or viewers anywhere from 35 to uh, uh, whatever. So, but for the people that do remember Waco or people who have read about it, what happened there was a law enforcement action, supposedly, and other persons mentioned Ruby Ridge. That happened about the same time. My question is, what did they do? What did they do that warranted, that they claim warranted what they did to that compound, storming that compound? And how did they do it? And I'll tell you how they started it off. They had agents in full armor go up on a roof, a one-story roof, and start to bust windows out and come into a second-story room. And I'll never forget, I was watching it when it happened, the tapes of when it happened, 50 caliber through the wall, hit those cops, and they rolled off the roof, and they were off to the races from there. Janet Reno, yep. Victor said a U.S. Ranger. Is that who got shot off the roof? It was a ATF guy. I believe this was mostly at the behest, or the agency in charge was ATF, I believe. Somebody that's got a little more up on that, because I think it was FB, FB and last letters I, on Ruby Ridge, and I think Waco was ATF. So anyway, they claimed he had some hardware, let's put it that way, hardware that wasn't legal, right? And they could have arrested him multiple times out in town. You know, at the dollar store or at a diner. They could have done it multiple times, but they made a military-style operation out of this. And at the end, why did they, when people were going, how can you justify what you did? 90 children were burned. The place burned down, and that's how those young people died. They said, how could you justify it? He was running a cult, a CULT. Oh, well, there are stories that he did this and stories that he did that. But it all started because he had a piece of hardware that didn't fit the ATF's rules, right? So they did this military-style operation, and they went in there, and a lot of people lost their lives and didn't even know what the heck was going on. And as we know, and I talk, people who haven't been in my program in the past, there was a young man handing out water bottles to people who escaped or survived Waco, and that young person was named Timothy McVeigh, who later, in retaliation, I won't say retribution, in retaliation to get vengeance for the young people of Waco, he ended up bombing the Alfred Murray Federal Building, and was later tried and met the ultimate fate at the hands of Merrick Garland, our current Attorney General. But the point I'm trying to make is we've got people now in government that were part of that government then, support what's going on now with people who do what they do and promote what they promote to young people in school. And they call Koresh a cult. Yeah, he might have been a weirdo. Yeah, he might have been talking about Seven Seals. Who knows? Nobody ever got the real story. He never got a day in court. So we don't know, except for what they're saying. But here they are, letting things like The Navy have a church of Satan, and they're calling that a cult. They're saying that gave them the right to go do that for that many people lose their lives in a quasi military operation. So, I do want to talk some more about how these things are tied in, and it's not conspiracy. Donald J. Trump mentioned himself in communications. He's going to have a full hour on Hannity Monday, but he brought up the term that Bragg is working for the devil. And people go, oh my goodness. Well, if they don't think the devil's real and they're a friend of yours, you might want to tell them that he's real and he's walking this earth. And if you don't believe in the devil, you don't believe in God, because we're told that Satan is here. And who else brought him up? Putin's brought it up a number of times, called the Western governments outright Satanists. And he's made those statements in press conferences that are being heard by other countries all around the world. So I'm not saying some kind of conspiracy or whatever. We've got the Church of Satan in the Navy suing the U.S. government about Roe v. Wade because they say it's interfering with their rituals, that they need to have unfettered ability to do what's as part of the ritual. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and they're saying that they were a cult in Waco, but these people are running our government, infesting our armed services, and they're not. Well, there's going to be a lot of TikTok videos coming out about what Trump said about, well, I guess I'll say it. I don't know if I get in trouble or not. I'll say it. Mutilation. Okay. That's the word that he used. So you got all these 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds on TikTok. And unfortunately, they've already had that happen to them. And to accept that, can you imagine? Can you imagine being a 15-year-old and that has already happened to you physically? Was David Koresh doing that to children? But what are you going to do if you all you hang around with is adults that encourage and promote and reward that type of stuff? And it starts dawning on you, I'm mutilated. I can't go back. Because it's going to have to happen at some point. There's going to have to be lights cut on. There is going to be psychological suffering, whether or not Mr. T says anything or not. It's coming. You see it every day. I haven't even gone into the news reports that I had together. I can go over those tomorrow, because there's a couple I'll talk about. Somebody working, what was it? For PBS, or they had a show on PBS, a young person that had done that to themselves. And what did they end up doing? Oh my gosh, I've got so many stories. United Airlines, here's the story. United Airlines had a spokesperson, I will say, TRANS, okay, flight attendant, is no longer with us from you know what aside after being featured in a United Airlines ad. And there's a picture I'm looking at of this person, this young person is in a plane and they're doing a commercial as a stewardess, and they left a note that says, as I take my final breaths and exit this living earth, Scott wrote on Instagram, I would like to apologize to everyone I let down. I am so sorry I could not be better. You know, folks, that's a human being. That's a human being that a cult got a hold of. A cult got a hold of that human being. And they glorified them. They did everything they could do to make this person feel comfortable in this state. And still led to the conclusion I just read to you. And the sad, terrible thing about it is, I would bet that this happened well before what we normally call the age of consent. Okay? And that there were adults involved. And the really tragic thing about it is, this young person said, I would like to apologize to everyone I let down. I am so sorry. I could not be better. That is an indictment, as far as I'm concerned, on every adult who played a role in that. We don't got no trolls, do we? Did I miss? I haven't been reading. Gary said he's buying stock in straight jacket manufacturing companies. Well, I can tell you what, there are thousands of people like the adults that did this to that young person running around. And I'm just saying, look what they did to the people at that facility in Waco. Okay, that the average person can't even tell what they did wrong, criminal enough to warrant them to be wiped out like that. So anyway, there was a great deal of things that Mr. T laid out in no uncertain terms. One of my broadcasts, I had pointed out that DJ T had mentioned, this was, more than a year ago. He mentioned one time, and then he went at least a half a year without ever mentioning again. He said he did not want to have to bring it up, but it needs to be brought up. He said mass deportations. And a year's gone by since he said that. Since then, the last couple of times he's come out and said they're going to have to pack their bags and go. And he brought up something I brought up, which was Eisenhower had a big operation making everybody go. I'll go over an hour. I'll tell you that. I'll go over an hour for you guys tonight. I get a little, you read something like that and you're looking at a person, you're looking at their picture. You can just imagine, a youth, and then they're on TV, and they have been psychologically forced into that unnatural state. And that instant their picture was taken, they have a genuine smile. They think this is great. But then you think what the psychological damage then that they've been through before they hit that that moment that their lives were over. And the thing is, we're going to have to deal with thousands of them. I see what you're saying, Debbie. Debbie said deportation to where? He said, we're gonna find out exactly which country they came from, and they're going straight back to that country. You know, El Salvador is going to play ball with Trump because they opened up that mega prison, and I'm sure they did it with the support of the U.S., the White Hats, to open up that mega prison. Now you have Colombia going to open up a mega prison. And I said to myself, and I said in my broadcast, if a little peanut like El Salvador can open up a 60,000, well, the prison is 40,000. They did 64,000 arrests, mass arrests, and lowered the murder rate to zero. If they can do it, imagine what this country can do. 20 times the size. So it's like Mr. T said, either we get rid of the deep state or they're going to get rid of us. And many of us were saying months ago, if we don't start arresting them, they're going to start arresting us. Well, what was last week all about? Them wanting to come arrest Mr. T. And then Bragg comes out and says, he raised expectations. I wasn't, he's making people think I was going to arrest him. Well, the immediate question by somebody with a brain on their head would be, what the hell do you think people are going to think about why did you start the grand jury? Why did you impanel the grand jury? Why have you been spending millions of dollars and hiring prosecutors for years? What the hell was he supposed to think? You're planning a birthday party? So let me get a sip of my coffee. I cut my mic off. But anyway, folks, yeah, it's getting to the point where the average American, the person who hasn't been paying attention, the okey doke who goes to work and says, I don't get involved in politics. Hey, as I said before, you don't get in politics. Politics is going to get in you, number one. Number two, if you can't see past your nose as to what's going on right now, after everything else we've been through, them threatening to arrest the president, a former president of the United States. And I know what everybody's going to say, like Trump, he called the catastrophe that happened when he left the office. He called it a catastrophe. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Richard. I don't know why you don't think I want to hear that. I mean, it sounds, what you're saying doesn't sound off the wall to me. I've never said there wasn't a Nisara or a Jasara. That's actual. I'm saying the way it's going to be implemented. National economic security. Yeah, I'll put it up there. If they want to get their financial birthright, they have to return to their birth country's origins. I don't know how factual that is, but being an American is a spirit, is an understanding, the American spirit, in lawfully joining this country. And as I said before, it's our greatest export is the American spirit. And Nassar, the only thing I said about that is one thing I said was, a lot of people say, are we going to get a lot of money? Are we going to get a bunch of money? And I said, well, look at it this way. If I got $101 bills in my pocket and somebody comes along and says, here's 900 more $1 bills. Now you got 1,000. Just because I said so, snap of a finger. Yay, right? Well, what's the difference somebody comes up to me and says, the money in your pocket right now is worth $1,000. I don't have to give you anything. Or you give me that rag money in your pocket, I'm going to give you the same denomination, but it's going to have physical gold in there. And it's going to be worth 10 times what you have in your pocket. It'll be the same denomination, but it'll be worth 10 times. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, is what I'm saying. But like Putin said it, if American money is like candy wrappers, what good is it if somebody gives me a big bag of candy wrappers? I talked in the past about my grandmother in Weimar, Germany. A wheelbarrow full of money, they used it to start a fire in the stove. So we definitely don't want to give me more of that because it's going to collapse. Wouldn't it be something? Think about it. If you got money that had maybe a flake, I don't know. You have a dollar bill or a 20, and the bigger the denomination, the larger the flake of physical gold is. Did a lot of you? I don't know if you're still in the chats, but Red did a little thing where he gave away gold flakes. I think 3 grams, 3 grams altogether came out to, I don't know if is he Red, you out there? But anyway, and that's what it is. When you buy a bag of dirt, you can buy a bag of dirt from a company and you take it home and you sift it just like the mountain men used to do. And you find little gold flakes and you put them in a little vial and you keep sifting the gold out in the creek, and before you know it, you have enough gold to take it and get some cash for it. Well, imagine those little flakes being weighed out, and you're carrying around your money in your pocket as money. Because I can tell you this, people were talking about this digital currency, and the fact that people aren't really alarmed and concerned, thinking, boy, that'll be convenient. Dude, what are they thinking? I mean, what are you going to do at yard sale when you're selling your golf clubs? Somebody takes the DS, and that's another thing. Mr. T said it more times tonight than he's ever said it. And he just started saying it about 2 weeks ago. Deep, and the second word is state. But what they'd like it to be when you're selling your golf clubs at a yard sale, that you take your phone and scan it over the person's phone, and the numbers change in the phone, and that means you sold something. It reduces the numbers in the buyer's phone and raises the number in your phone in your hand. And that's supposed to be cash. Let me see. Let me check it out, Nikki. I'll see what he's saying. Let me go back. Where did he go? Where did Victor go? Where did Victor go? You are so negative. When I was a timber faller on the Northwest, I would plant a tree in your head. Unbelievable. Okay. That I don't know who you're talking to, Victor. But yeah. Anyway, I'm positive. I'm positive because there's an end coming to this. I'm positive because there's going to come a time, and very soon, Victor, when we're not going to have people leaving letters or typing on Instagram, as I take my final breaths and exit this living earth. I would like to apologize to everyone I let down. I'm so sorry I could not be better. That happened. I'm not being negative. That's something that happened. And you still with me, Victor? Um, I'm not being negative. I have joy in my heart that these people that are doing that to young people will not be able to do that anymore. That if whoever comes into your class, they're going to feel good about themselves. They're gonna know that people care about them and want to do what's best for them, not what's best for somebody's uh, personal beliefs or cult-like beliefs, and that they're not going to be able to put those kinds of thoughts into a child's head. Okay. So no, I'm trying to be positive, but I can tell you this, and I'm not just talking to Victor, but any young person that's gotten used to this digital age, I can guarantee you one thing: if they get us to the point where you cannot carry physical legal tender in your pocket or head, they've been passed at home in the mayonnaise jar, buried in the yard, or whatever you want to do with it. If they get you to that point, you've lost your freedom. If you cannot possess legal tender. So that's right, Ian. Digital currency will soon lead to the government telling you how to spend your money. Well, you're right, Ian. I'll take it one step farther. That money, digital currency is not money. That's a grade. You're being graded because they can come in just like they did in Canada and take those numbers off your screen if you did wrong, just like they did, like the young mercenary I showed in UKR. They got his phone in it, and it said, here's how many social credits you have. And they had a little picture of Winnie the Pooh on the bottom with hearts, and they gave him 206 social credits. There were credits, not money. That's not money. Just like Andrew Jackson said about central bank currency long ago in 1840 or thereabouts, 1839, 1842, whenever he said the central bank printing that money is rag money. People were walking around till the 1930s with physical silver and gold in their pockets. And the bills they had said United States note, not Reserve note. So I had a picture, and I still have the file. I'll put it up in one of my picture shows of a $5 bill my mother saved that Kennedy had printed up just prior to his assassination. He ordered the printing of, I believe it was 10s and 20s that said United States note at the top and did not say Federal Reserve. In a few short months after that, he met his end in Dealey Plaza. So, okay, Victor, I'm trying to keep up with you, buddy. You said I am not good. I'm being tracked. Well, it's true. We all are. We all are, and we're finding that out. Victor, I don't want you to disclose anything about it if you don't want to. But you're young, I would say, and you've probably been exposed to the digital age for a bigger part of your life that that I have been. I mean, I went through a lot of my life with a yellow legal pad and a pen and cash in my pocket. I had the bank accounts and stuff like that, but I never had a debit card. I never had a credit card till late in my life. It was always cash and carry. And the digital age, to somebody who's been living the way Societies have lived for a thousand years. How many thousands of years to go from that to this little phone I've got in my hands is a big difference. So our life experience is different. And the thing is, I could go down to the river and go fishing, and I could do things and not worry about anybody knowing what I'm doing or I talk to, or I knew if they got on my hardline phone at home, they better have a warrant. And hi, Shane, how you doing? And now it's not that way. It's funny how they call the Patriot Act. That's the thing I've talked about in the past. It's called Pig Latin, and I call political Pig Latin, medical Pig Latin, legal Latin. Um, yeah, they say Patriot Act, and what they're doing is about as unpatriotic as you can get, as far allowing these foreign countries to be able to track us, to find out as much as they can about us, and pass it around, sell our information. So we've got to put a stop to that. And the biggest thing we need to stop is giving them control over our currency, over our legal tender. We have to be able. Oh, they say, oh well, people will hide the money. People will steal. People will be crooks. Well, when the hell we ever have society didn't have that? But we also had people that saved money, all right, and they didn't trust banks. And when the banks blew apart, they were the ones that made it. And we also have people that don't break laws, but they want to keep what's theirs, the sweat of their brow, the monetary reward from the sweat of their brow. They want to keep it. They don't want to be giving it to the government. Yeah, my mother had an antique shop, and she had a lot of dresses that were made from flour sacks from Cuba, where that's what the people were wearing when they came here to this country. Refugees from Cuba. Check out. Yeah, thank you, Doug. If you haven't already checked out Nikki B, and our great old man, Mountain Man, as a guest on there. Yes, I go on there. Let me see what's going on in chat. So, if anybody got any questions? I got a lot of topics, but we got to hopefully we're gonna have some more days so we can discuss things. But this was a throwdown speech. This was now. Yeah, the tie might symbolize that the job is done. But you know how many jobs we're working right now? The judiciary isn't cleaned out. Prosecutors aren't cleaned out. The military isn't cleaned out. Those are all missions and jobs that have yet to be completed. And they're working on right now. And I'm bringing up the Syria business and this thing with Iran attacking Syria. It's highlighting the fact that while Mr. T was president, there were people actively defying his orders, actively subverting his presidency. And General Douglas MacArthur lost his commission as a general by Harry S. Truman because he said something bad about Harry Truman. That was enough for him to be forced into retirement. One of the most famous generals of World War II. And he didn't do anything near what we're talking about with the Syria situation and other situations. So these people are not going to go down easy in the judiciary, in the prosecutors bunch, in Congress, in the medical field. The government is in everything. And I'll get in. into how they got control of our medicine, of our medical system, and a third of our economy. And a lot of you know how it was through the Affordable Care Act. So those people in charge of that, that's worth trillions of dollars. They're not going to let go of it easy. And for us to get them out in a lawful manner, we have to have evidence. Okay? You just can't jerk somebody out of a chair. You know, you got to have evidence. Let me see, my chat's froze up. Let me see what's going on here. Nick, Doug's talking about your channel. Oh, there's Nikki's. Oh, Nikki, did you put your link up, Nikki? If you all want to check Nikki B's channel out. Oh, that's right, Tennessee. Tennessee said, I'm thinking April will be interesting because I wrote down here on my pad things to look out for, right? I was going to see, since he was in Texas, I was going to see if he was going to say anything about Rick Perry. And as I said before, that was a seminal moment because it was when they made their move to make prosecutors more powerful than governors when they arrested Governor Rick Perry of Texas. I was going to see if he might have brought him up. Also, I wanted to bring up if he was going to say April Fools again. If he was going to say April Fools. And guess what day April Fools is on? 1 week from today, Saturday. I'm sorry, I didn't give you guys time to answer. Next Saturday is going to be April Fools. So a lot of us thought that he kept bringing up April Fools to get these black hats that know they are being looked at very strongly, let's say, that might be have done to make them good and nervous. All right, Arcellus found Nikki's channel today, Nikki B. And so we're glad you did too, buddy. We're glad to have you here. So anyway, yeah, you know, it might be, and that's why I'm saying don't get too excited and then feel let down. I love it when I was reading all those comments on liberal YouTube sites when the news came out that they weren't going to go get Trump and it was put off to next week. Oh my gosh! Oh, why did they just arrest him? Oh, great! It's about time that they're the ones that feel let down. About time they're the ones that feel stressed out. And it's about time they're the ones that hear real news, like I've been talking about, with Newsmax being able to come out with more, with RSBN coming out, right side broadcasting being able to put Trump's words up, and that's all causing a shift. All but the real sickos, you know, are going to start seeing the light. But don't you get upset because if nothing happens April 1st, folks, we're not going to get upset over that. I'm laughing because they're nervous about April 1st. And if something happens, great. I think it's just great. You're welcome, Arcellus. You don't remember? Debbie Webber said, I don't remember hearing April Fool's Day. Neither do I. I was saying look out for it. I was hoping he would say something about April Fool's, but I think he's trying to get people to focus on the issues that he talked about in unequivocal terms. And we've got a lot of work to do. It's not over. And no matter what happens, there's going to be an election in 2024. If there's intervention prior, like, you know, a lot of people would like to see, but even if that does happen, there's still going to be an election. So we might as well get ready for it. But I really think that this has boiled down to giving people the means and the ability and the leadership to be able to say the American people took this country back in another revolution. We're going to build a new republic. Kevin McCarthy announced 9 buildings they're going to put up in Washington, D.C., right in their face. Okay? That is going to be in the spirit of 1776. They're not going to demolish Washington. We're going to take it back, and we're going to build it, rebuild and build, and take these other agencies that are polluted. We're going to clean them out, and we're going to move them and dilute the Magic Kingdom and put institutions in there that are based on the Constitution. That's right. It's time for a battle. The battle is coming, folks. The ball's in their court, Arcellus. He didn't really talk about the New York matter. He's ignoring them. Did you ever have somebody real mad at you and you ignore them and they get even madder? You don't give them the time of day. Okay. Well, Victor, we like having you here, buddy, and I hope you learned something. But I don't have foul language in my chats, buddy. I know you're getting emotional, but and we all have been through down bumpy roads in our lives, and we want your life to get better as well as every other person's life to get better. But please keep my chats in a state where if 10 years from now, as I've said before, somebody's 12-year-old niece could come through here and look through it, and none of us will have anything to be ashamed of. Okay, buddy? So anyway, on that note, I'll be up tomorrow because I want to broadcast every day of the week, but in the future now, every day of the week, but Saturday nights and Tuesday nights. Okay. And but this week was so much was happening, and this week is going to be busy too. And so I just plowed straight through. But in the future, I won't be broadcasting on Saturday nights or Tuesday nights unless things are getting wild. And I want to be right there with you, folks. We're walking through history together. And I thank you all for being with me and spending what I call it, your precious time. It's not just your time, it's your precious time. And I appreciate you spending it with me as we walk through history together. And I'll be up tomorrow night, I hope. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I go live, so you can be part of the chats. So once again, folks, I thank you for spending your precious time with me. I thank everybody that's helped me through the Buy Me a Coffee link, and I'm going to add me some names to the banners. And Gary, I want to thank you, and Debbie Webby, I want to thank you. You all have a great night. This is Mountain Man over and out.